Hello and welcome to this episode of 49 FaithfulLee. I'm your host, Miriah Lee, and tonight I'm joined by TL. Teran, how you doing tonight, TL?
I'm doing awesome. Once again, thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Thanks for becoming the official guest co-host.
Okay.
I don't know what the word for it is, but
Yeah.
it seems we'll be seeing a lot more of you, hopefully.
Mm,
So that's good.
cool. I look forward
Um,
to it.
let's go ahead and jump into this. I guess we ended this week how you and I predicted that we would get a loss against Seattle. Um, I mean, I guess the only thing I can say I was surprised about is that we saw Trey Lance for a half. Other
Yeah.
than that, the ending, the game, it wasn't too much of a shocker to me. The way Jimmy played wasn't too much of a shocker. What are your feelings about Seattle as we say goodbye to them?
Well, I was looking at the game, obviously as we all had talked about, pretty much this whole week is like 49ers honestly should have been up 21-7 at halftime. The way that the game was flowing, I mean, defense played a hell of a game. And then you look at it and it's like, we just could not capitalize on all the good field position that we had. The ball after that first drive that Jimmy went 6 for 6 with the touchdown pass to Dwelly, it was looking promising. I'm like, oh, okay. But then yet, we see again, it's like, oh, okay, let's go ahead and get the defense. Let's adjust. Let's take away his strengths. And then after that first drive, everything went stagnant as usual in the first half, like it has been the past 3 games. So, I had predicted a score of 28-23, I believe, or no, was it 28-24? I can't remember. It was close. It was like I predicted Seattle was going to win. I think it was 28-23, I think. And then they ended up winning, what, 28-21. So, I mean, I was pretty close. I felt like we're going to score like a garbage touchdown at the end, which kind of happened. So, I
Yeah.
think the thing that disappoints me the most is like, after the Seahawks went up 14-7, we they scored and they kicked off to us, and then that's when Trenton Cannon had that double fumble. You remember that?
Yeah.
Had that double fumble. So I'm like, oh, okay. And then we gave the ball back to them, and then they scored again, which put them up 21-7. And after that, I'm like, okay, we're definitely going to lose. Like, I feel like, with us getting the ball back up, with them up 14-7, we had a chance to maybe go downfield to score to tie up the game. But once that blunder happened, I was like, it's over. So, and then I think the main takeaway I take is like, you get, like you said, Trey Lance going in was a shocker. I'm like, what? I saw him warming up on the sidelines, and it was like Jimmy's hurt, but then it's one of those things where it's like, is he really hurt? Or,
Yeah.
but then at the same time, it's like, I'm surprised he's not hurt. You know what I mean? Because of his history. So I'm going to give a shout out to Jesse Naylor because I was listening to Grant last night, and he made a good point. It's like, this is a time where, like, you see Lance going in the second half of the Seahawks game, and then he played okay. I mean, of course we're going to expect, some bumps and bruises going on, but I think if Kyle's smart, he'll play Lance this week, let him play a full game to see what he has. And like everybody was saying, like, I mean, even though I don't agree with it, I think he should just play going forward. But don't know what's going on behind closed doors over there at the 49er building. But if Trey Lance plays poorly, you can always just say, okay, it's been a couple weeks. Jimmy's calf is now healed. We're going to put him in against the Colts. So it's kind of like a win-win situation in a way. What do you
Right.
think?
Yeah, I completely agree. Um, and speaking of the double fumble, whatever it was, right after I gave props to special teams, they come out and, you know, completely make me eat my words and take it all away. Robbie, oh my gosh. What? Can we just get rid of him already? Like, what are we doing? The guy's
Yeah.
always hurt. He doesn't want to be there anyways. We all know that. It's
Hmm.
like I'm so tired of keeping players that, aren't all bought in. They don't want to be there. They're always hurt. Like get rid of these people. We're paying him all this money. They keep re-signing him, even though he's like freaking 50 years old. I don't know how old he is, but he's pretty old.
Yeah, no, he's up there.
And it's just like, And again, it's like special teams. I don't know what happened this week.
Yeah.
That and then the fumble thing, and then the rolling into the end zone. It's just like he looked so promising the week before, and then this week, oh man.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know. It's like one of those things. It's like, you sit up and you cheer for him, like, yeah, man, I'm looking forward to Cannon and what he can do going forward. And you look at him and it's kind of like a face palm, like, oh my God, what did he
Yeah.
just do? Like, he just, yeah. So, another young guy who's probably going to make his mistakes as well. He's super fast, though. Like, I like to see him. I mean, I'm surprised he wasn't cut, to be honest, because you know how Kyle is. He's so, like, trigger happy when it comes to making moves. Like, oh, he pissed me off and he made two mistakes. He's gone. And honestly, when the Bears cut Nasimba Webster, I thought they might bring him back because he showed
Oh,
some
did they
promise.
cut him?
Yeah, they cut him. So he's out there. So
Oh
I thought
wow.
so. Yeah, so I thought for sure it was gonna be like, oh man, we liked him in camp. He knows our playbook. Blah blah blah. We'll bring him in. But yeah, he's still out there. But then Hightower was praising Cannon. If you saw,
Yeah,
oh,
and
he's
said
good.
that
He's
sat
good.
up there and said that he loves him, like finished his presser with that, and it's like, okay, well, that would be kind
Yeah.
of messed up for Kyle to go and cut him after that.
Yeah, it's like I don't care how much you like him, he's gone. But yeah, I'm surprised he's still there, which I'm glad. Like I think it's like a real job. Once you make a mistake, you can't fire somebody on the first offense. You gotta let them make the mistakes for them to be a better employee. So I kind of. I mean, I'm glad for the kid. Hopefully, he bounces back. But you see how fast Kyle takes the reins away. As soon as he made those mistakes, he had like Sanu back there returning punts. He had
Yeah.
Ayuk, and then Ayuk got scared. That he got hurt. You see, was his helmet came off. He got hit
Yeah.
pretty. He got pretty hard back there. So I don't know. It's like hopefully Kyle's like, okay, hopefully he has a good week of practice. Cannon does, and he's like, okay, we'll go ahead and try you again. But if he messes up again, he's probably gone.
Yeah. And like, of course, I don't want to see him make any mistakes, but I'm willing to forgive him for those mistakes if he can be solid for us in the return game, because that's something that we've been without for so long. So it's
Well,
kind of like, we've had no return game. It's almost like, like the whole situation with Lance. It's like you'd rather take your bumps and bruises and let him grow into a player that hopefully they can be,
mhm.
instead of just keeping somebody back there that's going to fair catch or,
Yeah,
never give us anything in the
not
return
take
game.
any chances. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, you see somebody 15 yards ahead of you and you're fair catching. It's like, dude, you had enough time to catch the ball and try to make the first guy miss and take off. But, we had talked about this before, but, special teams gets kind of overlooked because it's really a hard job. People think like it's easy, like, oh, you just stand in the end zone, you catch the ball. No, it takes great vision and, quick decision making. Like if you're not a smart decision maker, you're not a good punt returner. So it takes a lot back there, especially if you're doing the punts. I think that's the worst because you got to look at the ball while it's in the air, look how much spacing you have, see how fast people are coming at you. It's like a bang bang decision you got to make. So
Yeah.
yeah,
So we got to see Lance come in. Got to see him for, the first time that we've seen some extended action from him in, the real season. What did you think about what we saw? What did you think about the play calling that we saw while he was in there? The run game, the whole situation for the second half. How did you feel about that?
well, with him and obviously first and foremost, the run game got better. I mean, the first snap of the game he took, Trey Sermon took it 15 yards on the first play when Trey was in. So that just shows you the promise that we have with the run game while Trey is in. And then, as you can see, I watched the game twice, um, live, and then again another time. And then so I'm looking at it, and everybody wants to say, "Oh, he only had a good game." The stats are inflated because of that blown coverage with Debo. Yeah, it was a blown coverage because Jamal Adams hesitated because he wasn't sure what Trey was going to do.
Right.
As you can look at it, I slowed it down. As soon as Trey snapped the ball, he took a couple steps to the right, and Jamal Adams was like, "Oh crap, is he running or not?" And because the fact of that quick, that quick decision Jamal made, like, is he going to run? It allowed Debo to get behind him and score that touchdown, and that's a big play capability that we can see from Trey because I don't think Jimmy would have even attempted that throw.
Right.
because I don't know if he even would have even saw the play. He would have been looking more in the middle of the field because that's where he looks. He wouldn't even have looked outside the numbers where Trey threw it. So, um, going off his performance, I mean, he was shaky, the first two balls, and they were just cracking up on Twitter. These people were so ridiculous. So, first play, he threw the ball at Kittle's feet. Second play, he overthrew Debo. Is this what you guys wanted? Be careful what you ask for. Oh, I thought he was going to be better than Jimmy. I'm like,
They
dude,
couldn't wait.
Jimmy,
They couldn't wait.
they couldn't wait. And I was like, Jimmy does the same thing. So stop it.
Right.
He threw it at Kyle Juszczyk's feet, I think, against that Philadelphia Eagles game. So, and I just, what irritates me is like, okay, everybody's going to have their own opinion. I don't get mad if you're a supporter of Jimmy, because I support him too if he was good for this team. But the fact that they give people so many they give Jimmy so many passes when he makes a mistake. Oh, well, Jimmy, he has to get warmed up and he has to get in the rhythm. Trey goes in there 2 throws and you're biting his head off.
Right.
They, like you said, they couldn't wait. They were just like on him like white on rice. Like, dude, he messed up. You did this. And I laughed. I'm just like, oh, so I get it. So it's okay. So it's excusable for an 8-year vet who claims the game has slowed down for him to make a mistake. But it's not okay to be patient with a rookie to make mistakes when he hasn't played in over a year. Like, it just, these people do not understand the nuances of football. They don't get it. So when I saw that, I was just like, these people are ridiculous. So then as the game started to slow down a little bit, as the game slowed down for him a little bit, as the game went on, as the game progressed, he got better. Like, I think obviously him not playing over a year, he's the youngest quarterback in football too, by the way.
Yeah.
The fact that he goes in not playing over a year, I'm sure like the butterflies were all in his stomach. Like, he was nervous. I mean, and honestly, it's okay. Like, and if he plays, and I was telling people on Spaces, as I'm always on Space. I see you up in there every once in a while too, but I go in there and I speak, and I was like, this fan base is so spoiled. Especially people of our age in their late 30s, early 40s. We got to see greatness: Joe Montana, Steve Young. So we do have a high standard expectation when it comes to quarterback play.
Yeah.
So and we've been to so many quarterbacks. I mean, whether it was Jeff Garcia, Kaepernick, Alex Smith, whatever the case may be. So people was looking for that next superstar, but they're not willing to be patient with it. And I'm just like, man, you guys need to be patient. Let Trey. And then for him to go 9 for 18, he went 50%, which, if you look at it, his first 5 throws were pretty bad, but then when he slowed down, his percentage got better. So I feel like, once the game slows down for him, and once he gets more reps and gets timing with his receivers and Kittle and all that, he'll be great. So 9 for 18 with 2 touchdowns and a 2-point conversion. I'm happy with that. I'm happy that, he did that. No turnovers. And, and it's funny, did you see that one over the middle? I think he was throwing it to Sherfield. He threw a bullet and Bobby Wagner, like, jumped out of nowhere and, like, kind of swatted it. That wasn't a bad play. It's just Bobby Wagner just made a better play.
Right.
He made a better play. And you get that ball thrown from Jimmy, it's probably picked because he doesn't throw as hard. So I'm very happy with what I saw. I'm expecting to struggle. Even if he plays from here on out, I expect him to struggle for at least 5, 6, 7 games. I'm going to expect it, and I hope 49er fans give this kid a chance and just don't jump on his back and say, "See, we should have just put Jimmy in." But he seems like he's pretty thick-skinned. He comes from a great family, and it feels like he's a playbook junkie. So that's what I feel about it.
Yeah, and to add to that is Trent Williams said today during his presser that Trey didn't find out that he was even going in until they were running out of the tunnel to go back out onto the field the second half. So, I mean, the kid had no idea that he's going in. The playbook, the plays weren't drawn up for him. That game plan wasn't for him. We could see that by the play calls that Kyle was calling, because to call the same play 3 times, that's not working because you obviously have nothing else to call. You don't know what to call, is kind of crazy. It's like, so if Jimmy were to thrown into that situation, people would be making every excuse in the book for him. They already do. He's still learning the playbook. It's like, so that, like you said, it's okay for, Jimmy to do all these things as an 8-year vet, but Trey, no, he's not allowed to make any mistakes. He should have been like 19 for 19, getting thrown in this 30-second notice, But yeah, the run game, Trey Sermon, everybody was, ready to write him off after his first week. And then look how well he did, the whole game, but look how well he did once Trey Lance was into the game. That opened up the game for him. Like those two were made for each other, to play
for
together.
sure.
And we saw a taste of that. Now imagine what the game plan, with what it's going to be like when the game plan is drawn up for him.
Exactly.
Hopefully he does start next week and this coming up week. And, Kyle has plays that are, more to suit him and not running Jimmy's, game plan. But, yeah, I think he got better as the game went on. And I think that's all that we can ask. Is that he's not going out there making the same mistake, looking like, that offense was not even moving after
that first drive.
The first drive. Yeah. That offense wasn't doing anything. He comes into the game and he has a few, hiccups at the beginning, but once he got warmed up and he got into the game, he was making plays like he should have been sacked a whole handful of times.
Yes.
And, if that would have been other quarterbacks, he would have been sacked a handful of times.
That's an excellent point.
There were so many times that he was, ended up getting out of there when I thought that he was going down for sure, and it's like he made something out of nothing.
Yeah,
and
you make an excellent point.
Happened.
I didn't even touch on that, and that's good you brought that up because if you look at, especially in the fourth quarter, they kept blitzing him. You can tell they wanted to make him uncomfortable, and Mike McGlinchey was just getting his lunch taken. Like they were on trail, especially on that right side. They were on him every time, but he kept sidestepping, and he knew how to get out of the pocket and make plays with his legs. So what we had, I want to say, what was it, 3 4th downs on that last drive, and he got us a first down on every one of them, whether it was with his arm or his legs. So
and that's with no Trent Williams. Trent Williams was out. So he had who was even playing for him?
Jalen Moore got in for him.
So that was like his first real action too, of the real season.
A 5th round rookie at that, so you got a 5th round rookie who steps in at left tackle. Granted it was only for a short time, but still it doesn't matter. He was in there, against, like a Carlos Dunlap or whoever the case may be. So you're in there against, some top talent, and then you go in there and then he should, if it was, and this is not like a dog Jimmy show, but if it was Jimmy, he probably would have got sacked at least 3 times in that sequence. But Trey Lance eluded every one of those sacks. He got out of there, and he made. And to me, I was impressed with the quick decision making he made. Like that first down he threw to Mohamed Sanu to get that first down. Then he threw another one to Debo, and then then the other one he got a 4th and 10. He got that with his legs. And I'm going to go back to what you were saying about that play calling, because that's an excellent point, and that's just something that blows my mind. So, and I get, when you're preparing for the game, you prepare for one quarterback to start. I get that. But to not to have a backup plan and a package for Trey when he got in is inexcusable.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that was pissing me off about Kyle. Don't take any accountability. It would have been, fans would have respected him more if he said, you know what, I didn't expect Jimmy to get hurt, which is in itself is dumb because he always does. But at the same time, if you would have came out and just said, you know what, I feel like Jimmy's been playing well, I didn't expect him to get hurt. I wasn't prepared. I should have had a better preparation for Trey Lance to come in. But to say that you had no game plan for Trey Lance, hey, so what would you do in a situation if a quarterback did get hurt? So what did you do when we had CJ Beathard and Mullins? I'm sure you had something for them to go in and play. So I just didn't understand that. That's just not taking any accountability to me, because I don't care what the situation is. You got to have your backup quarterback, the most important position on the field, prepared in case something happens.
Right.
So
that's something we talked about last week, is that Shanny takes no accountability for anything. He never gets up there and says, this is my fault. It starts with me. It's nothing. Mm-hmm. Not one time. And the same thing this week.
Yeah. And you look at these other, other coaches like Mike Tomlin for Pittsburgh. I always see him taking
Yep.
accountability. It starts with me. I'm the coach, so you point fingers at me. Don't blame my defense. Don't blame me. I'm the one who should have made the adjustments, and I can respect that. And
Yep.
fans would respect that too if Kyle would did that. But and then that's another subject. But we can touch on some other time. But Kyle Shanahan, I feel like the fan base is starting to turn their back on him a little bit because nobody can trust him. He comes up with all these lies, and then like people have been saying all week, like the calf injury with Jimmy, it's been like four different stories. Is it a strain? Is it a contusion? Is it a pull? Like it's just, what is it? You know what I mean? So that just goes to show that it's probably not true. That he could probably play if he needed to, and it was probably because I never heard anybody getting a calf strain for somebody stepping on you. That's just, I
Right.
mean, I can understand a contusion, getting a bruise or whatever, but not a strain. So that was just, that didn't make sense to me. So, I just hope that Kyle does the right thing and starts Trey this week. I really do think he's going to play just because he's getting the majority of the first team reps. But, knowing the way that Kyle's been handling business here, who knows? I want Trey to start, but I would not be surprised if it's Jimmy either.
Right. And that whole thing that I don't understand was with Jimmy is, he was too hurt to play, but he could be standing on the sideline the whole time. He had nothing on his leg, no wrap, no brace, no
Yeah.
what,
No
nothing.
ice or nothing. Yeah.
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 And then you're still walking out to the field to congratulate the other players. You're still doing all that stuff. You're still, it's like you're still going to your presser. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, so you're not hurt that bad.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
So,
true. Yeah.
and then yesterday on the same day, the coach comes out and says that it's a calf bruise. And then right after that, Jimmy comes out and says, no, it's not a calf bruise, it's a strain. It's like, isn't like, don't you guys all have to like hear from the same doctor? I'm not understanding. Is
Yeah.
it, are you hurt? And then the coach says, oh well, if he's okay to play, I would like him to, and it's just kind of like, okay. And then Jimmy's acting like that it hurts way worse than what Shanahan's acting like. And I feel like that we're going all the way back to last year again with the whole high ankle sprain. It's
Yeah.
like the coach acted like, oh, it's not that big of a deal, and Jimmy's coming out there acting like, no, it is a big deal, I am hurt, it does, I am in pain. So, like, what are we doing? Did we pull him because he wasn't playing well? Are we trying to trade him? And it's easier to trade him if he has a calf bruise than if he's playing like crap? Like, what is going on?
Yeah. No, you're right. And it could have been something just as simple like, hey, is Jimmy hurt? No, he's not hurt. We just want to put Trey in to put a little spark on our offense because it's been stagnant. And that's another thing that, people haven't really been talking about, like the coaching staff, whatever. Like, we mentioned this last week. Like, you cannot be happy from what you're saying. So the fact that, in three straight games, the first half of every game, we scored 7 points, 21 points in 6 quarters. And Jimmy only accounted for 2 touchdowns because Trey made the one for Green Bay. So it's like, he scored in Philly, he scored against Seattle, but what else has been done? Like, so, you know, I don't know what's going on there. I don't know, it's starting to get a little frustrating and irritating at the same time because it's like, we as fans, I know that they think, like we're not important or whatever the case may be, but at the same time, you might want to listen to what's going on because I feel like sometimes the fans are seeing more than what the coaches see. But it's just like, and of course they're not gonna, they're getting paid millions of dollars. They're not gonna take our input. That's not what I'm saying. But what my thing is, if us as fans who don't get paid to do what you do that there's a problem, you should see that there's a problem because
Yeah.
you're the one who's in there every single day. You're looking at all the snaps. You're on the sidelines while the offense has stalled. So we're saying this, and we're not the so-called gurus or whatever. Why aren't you saying this and making a change? It's just, and it's funny because I don't know, like I kind of go back and forth because I look at the situation like for Kyle and what he's doing. Like, is he on the hot seat and we just don't know it? Like, did Jed York pull John Lynch and him aside, to the beginning of the season, said, look, we at least need to make the playoffs because you've lost, you have one winning season in 4 seasons, so we have to make the playoffs? Or is it one of those? well, you know what, I want you to play Jimmy because I want to get some trade value for him. I'm writing a check to him every week. He's getting paid 27 million. I don't want 27 million on the bench. So it could be to the point where Kyle's handcuffed as well. I just don't know. But just to me, it just doesn't make any sense. And even if it is coming from Jed York, it doesn't make any sense on his part either. Because now you've used all your draft capital to get this man, and you're not trying to develop him at all. Excuse me. Yeah.
Yeah, and that whole thing never made sense to me in to begin with, is the whole, oh, Jed's okay with us paying Jimmy and having Trey,
Mhm.
he's okay with us paying Jimmy's salary for the next 2 years. It's like, do you know how to run a football team? Because no team is going to be okay with paying a guy that much money that doesn't need to be on the team when you have glaring weaknesses elsewhere, that money could be going to. Like, the whole point of having a rookie quarterback is so you can pay playmakers on your team. But we're going to have a rookie quarterback and we're going to waste 2 years of that rookie salary to pay a mediocre quarterback.
Yeah.
For what? To be hurt?
Yeah, and I think that's what the issue is now. It's like, I think you go back in the NFL, you go back maybe 6, 7 years, Jimmy would probably be the perfect quarterback because of his quick release and stuff like that. But the game has changed so much. Like, the college game is starting to be implemented into the pro game. So you look at these quarterbacks who have been drafted in the last 5 years: Baker Mayfield, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Deshaun Watson, Patrick Mahomes, and even our class, Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson. What they all have in common is they can all scramble, and they can use their legs when the play breaks down, and they all have strong arms. So the way that the football is going, like, Jimmy is like a dinosaur in this game. I mean, the only one who can pull off being an old school quarterback to me is Tom Brady.
Yeah.
Like, he's going to do what he does. So I'm not even putting him into it because he's just who he is. But you look at everybody else, like, the game has changed. And, and everybody's now playing that 11 on 11 football now that, Kyle speaks so highly of, but he's not really doing it because he's not playing his best chance of utilizing his offensive weapons with Trey. So it's like you always say, what are we doing here? Like, we're so far behind these other teams offensively when it's embarrassing because we have so many weapons.
Yeah. And we have this offensive genius, they say, making the plays, yet our offense is doing nothing. Like, absolutely nothing.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. And what sucks is Debo, he's killing it so much that teams are going to be like, okay, well, he's the only one doing anything. You're using George Kittle as a blocker at the line of scrimmage. Let's double team him and force everybody else to beat us.
Yeah.
So it's like, and what's sad is we have the capability to do that with Sanu and Sherfield and Ayuk and stuff, but it's like it's not happening because, like I was telling people on Spaces earlier, it's like, is Jimmy a starting quarterback? Yes. For this system, no. And going forward, who knows if he'll be a starting quarterback in the NFL, because the NFL is predicated on spreading the ball. And Kyle's offense, is predicated on attacking every angle of the field, whether it's deep, intermediate, behind the line of scrimmage, whatever the case may be. And then when you take away the run game, which Kyle likes to do, it's like, you're making Jimmy into a quarterback who's very limited already just because of the simple fact that he can't throw deep. So now, and that's why our offense has looked like trash, because we have a quarterback who can attack every angle of the field. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I completely agree. And that's another thing with Kyle, is that everything that you have told us that you are wanting, that you're looking for, everything, or that you disliked, it's like now it's the opposite. Now all of a sudden you don't want that 11 on 11, obviously. You don't want the guy that can run and throw and make every play and throw downfield, and because you're not using that guy. Mm-hmm. You've done nothing but talk about, you wanted a starting quarterback. You wanted this, trying to replace Jimmy every chance you got. But now all of a sudden, Jimmy is the guy.
Yeah. And that's what's head scratching. That's what's head scratching. And it's like, people are like, well, and it's funny because everybody wants to say, oh, Do you really think that people caught up with Jimmy this year? Well, I think they caught up with him last year because if you
Yeah.
looked at him when he was healthy last year, the offense was stagnant too. Like that Cardinals game, we kind of started off okay when, well, he threw a screen pass to Mostert and he took it 80 yards to the house, but it's like Jimmy banks on those big plays. He banks on, I'm going to dink and dunk to you. I'm going to throw you a 10-yard screen pass or a 10-yard slant, and I depend on you to do your yards after the catch to get us down the field. He doesn't see that, he doesn't see like, oh, there's somebody open 50 yards down the field, let me go ahead and sling it. He doesn't work that way. So I think that's what the issue comes in at.
I mean, I think defenses caught up with Jimmy in the end of, the 2019 run.
Hmm.
I mean, we saw, we had to run the ball all those times. The coach took it out of Jimmy's hands. And if the defenses didn't catch up with him and Jimmy was such a winner, like everybody wants to say, he would have won the Super Bowl.
Yeah, and you're right, and too, because I mean, what he kind of started struggling in that Vikings game, and that's when Kyle was like, "Let me take the ball out of your
Yeah.
hands," and we ran the ball most of the game with Tevin Coleman and Raheem Mostert, and then when you get to the NFC Championship, he hands off the ball 94% of the time and throws the ball 8 times the whole game. So,
Yeah.
so yeah, you might be right. It might have started catching up with them to the end of 2019. We just had a great defense that kept us in these games and held the opponents from scoring on us all the time. So.
Yeah. So before we officially say goodbye to Seattle for a few weeks, um, I've seen a lot of chatter that we would have won that game had Jimmy been able to finish the whole game.
Would we have though? I don't know. Well, somebody else said on Twitter today, they were like, "Well, I think we would have won if Robbie Gold played." Which, okay, maybe if we kick that field goal, if he kicks a field goal instead of Wisnowski, maybe we do go up 10-7. Whatever the case may be. But I don't know. I don't think so. I think Pete Carroll would have went into the half, even if we were up 10-7, because that's really the only opportunity that you can say that we missed as far as it not being on our offense. Because after, like you said, after that first drive, six for six and a touchdown, our offense stalled. So even if we went up 10-7, I still don't believe we would have won that game
And
because, yeah,
that's
I just
that's
I
what
just don't
brings
see it.
me to think that had we went into that week with the game plan around Trey and Trey would have started the whole game, would we have won the game then? Because we scored points once Trey came in. The offense
Possibly,
couldn't do shit when
yeah,
Trey, with Jimmy.
yeah, because I mean he scored 2 touchdowns in one half. So maybe if he played a whole game, he gives us 4 touchdowns, maybe even five, or maybe he gives us three, and then the run game opens up and they give us 2 touchdowns. You know what I mean? Like, who knows? I don't think we. I mean, you and I, when we made our predictions of who was going to win the game, it was based off Jimmy starting the whole game, and we still had us losing.
Right.
So I don't agree with that. I think we would have lost either way because I honestly think too. Let's be honest here. In the second half, if our run game wasn't going, because I know Kyle would have tried to do that again. Who knows if Jimmy doesn't throw another interception? Who
Yeah.
knows if, you know what I mean? Who knows if he doesn't do that or we get a pick six or something? Who knows? So to say that, I don't really agree. I don't agree with that. I think we.
Or
I think
throws
we.
a
I think we
backward pass
lose.
or something.
Yeah, I think we lose that game regardless.
That's fair.
Hmm.
All right. So as we take Bay's question, we'll roll on to Arizona, where our team's, pretty familiar with Arizona after last year. Bay says, do you two think Trey will seize the opportunity on Sunday? I'll let you say whether you think Trey is going to start or not. And what are your thoughts on the Arizona game?
Okay, to answer your question, Bay Area baller, if Trey starts, and that's a big if, it all to me depends on Kyle Shanahan. If Kyle Shanahan comes with a game plan to play to Trey's strengths, I still think we lose, but I think it gives you a lot of promise to what we can see in the future. Because um, if I'm Kyle Shanahan, I'm throwing the kitchen sink at Arizona. I'm doing 4 or 5 wide receiver sets. I'm putting Kyle you checking the slot. I'm doing whatever I got to do to put my best weapons on the field to make Trey succeed. because then you put 4 or 5 receiver sets. You know what that does? Opens up a run game because you can't crowd the box. So you put 5 receiver sets, and then you start, having Trey take off a little bit here and now, and he's getting 6 yards of carry. Like, oh man, every 2 runs he's getting the first down on us, and then that's going to make the defense change their game plan and try to have a man spy. That's going to open up the passing game. So I think if Kyle does that, it opens up that playbook and lets Trey loose and just say, you know what, I expect he needs to talk up Trey and just say, look, Rook, just go out there and be you. Like what Debo was telling him. Just be you. Go out there and do your thing. I expect you to make mistakes. Don't make him feel bad for going out there and throwing a bad ball, or if it throws an interception, whatever the case may be, because he's a 21-year-old quarterback. He needs his confidence. So just go out there and, just you, Adam Peters, offensive line, everybody, all the vets, just go to him and say, look, Rook, you're starting. We believe in you. We're going to ride with you. Whatever mistake you go out there, we're going to be okay, because we know this is a development stage for you. And if he goes out there with confidence, I think he does well. If so, let me give you we're doing the predictions, Miriah?
Yeah.
Okay. So if Jimmy starts, which I hope he doesn't, I think we lose like 38-20 if Jimmy starts. I think he'll muster up 20 points just because Arizona's defense it's not as bad as Seattle's, but they're not. I think they're ranked like 18th, which is not bad, the middle of the pack. Because I think Jimmy will put us in bad position. He'll probably throw a couple picks, whatever the case may be. I mean, you look at the skill positions on the defense of Arizona, they're better than Seattle's because they have Buda Baker, who's an all-pro safety, who can cover and play the line of scrimmage. You got Isaiah Simmons, who's a 4-4 linebacker, and you know how Jimmy struggles with linebackers. I play the middle, especially somebody who's faster than Fred Warner. He's not as good. I'm just saying he's faster. He runs a 4-4, so if Jimmy floats a pass over the middle, it's over with. It's picked, and he's probably going to take it to the house. I expect Arizona to do what everybody else has been doing if Jimmy starts and crowd the box and make Jimmy beat him deep. So that's why I think we only scored maybe 20 points. If Trey starts, I give the same offensive production to Arizona, except maybe it's only 35, but I give us 35. I'd say Arizona would beat us 35-31. I think Trey probably throws maybe 56% percentage for his throws. I don't think he does anything more than 70 because he's going to struggle. Maybe like 17 for 30 or something like that. I expect him to be like 17 for 30 with like 250 yards. I'm going to say he scores 3 touchdowns in the air, and the running backs will score at least 1. So, and then we'll get a field goal probably from Sly. So I'm thinking with 49, if Trey plays, I feel like 35-31. I don't think his completion percentage will be that good, but I think he'll throw for a decent amount of yards, and I expect him to throw at least 1 bomb for a touchdown, and I think it's going to be to Ayuk. So that's what I think. So to answer your question, I think Trey will maximize his playing time if he's put in a position to. Because if Kyle comes out there and has it vanilla and being conservative, it's not going to look good, I don't think. You got to let Trey be who he is. So.
Yeah, I'm going to say I think Trey's going to start. I think that it makes the most sense at this point. And like that we were talking, I think off air, about that, this will be the perfect opportunity for Kyle to have his out if he does start Trey and Trey comes out and he doesn't do well. Yeah, we can go into the bye, and this will give Jimmy time to rest up his whatever injury and come out and start Jimmy. And the whole reason you started Trey was because Jimmy was hurt. You've been saying Trey's not ready. Now Trey goes back to learning from Jimmy, and off they go into the sunset. But yeah, I think I'm going to say that Trey comes out and he does well. And we come out of the bye and Trey is the starter. Because once Trey comes out and he does well, that's it. You can't go to Jimmy after that. You think that there's, whispers of the locker room being divided or whatever now, that's just going to make it worse if you're going to go back and forth. So especially once, you have Trent coming out and you have other people coming out saying, what they're seeing from Trey and, that he is special and that he is this. And now when he gets out there and he shows the whole world, are you going to be able to then put him back on the bench for a mediocre quarterback? That doesn't make sense. You can't then tell us that you're doing whatever it takes to win and that's your goal. And like we talked about before, what is the future? What is his plan? That you obviously haven't been getting Trey ready. You were really just planning on Jimmy making it through the whole season healthy and then starting Trey freaking next season and going through all the bumps and bruises. And like, what was your plan? We talked about the same thing last week, that we didn't see that he was getting Trey ready, that he was, that he wasn't worried about the future. And we saw that this week because it didn't look like he had anything put together for Trey.
Mm-hmm.
You're so excited and you're drawing up, plays coming from Justin Fields' pro day, yet you don't have plays for him now. Like, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're absolutely right.
So again, it's like back to Kyle. Who knows what Kyle's doing?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's possible that Jimmy does start after having one day of practice, because I saw somewhere that he told coach that he wants to practice tomorrow.
Yeah.
So I don't know if he's worried. I would imagine he would be worried,
should be
to lose his job.
Yeah.
But
yeah, he should be. He should be worried. Yeah, you're right. If Trent comes out there and happens to go like I said, like 19 for 30, he throws 3 touchdowns, and maybe even he has a pick in there, I'm fine with that. If he goes out there and throws like 250 yards, 3 touchdowns and a pick and runs one in, there is no way that you can explain why you're going back to Jimmy.
Yeah.
There is no way. Like, you have to go forward. And what the thing about it is, if they're so worried about winning, because like we mentioned last week, this is not a Super Bowl roster. This is not a Super Bowl roster. So really, if you sit Trey all year, then you finally play him in 2022, which if you wait that long, that's 2 years of him playing, 2.5 years of him not playing football. So now that's going to be your development year. 2022 is going to be development year. So now we really probably won't be a Super Bowl team until 2023. So now you're waiting 2 years before you're actually a factor out there. You know what I mean? So,
and by that time we could have lost Debo because his contract's going to be up.
Yeah, he'll
Kittle's
be a free agent.
going to be who knows what.
Yeah,
Ayuk's going to be in the last year of his contract.
Yeah,
Juice, the running backs.
Yeah, we have to maximize our potential on offense now, and the only way to do that is to get the kid on the field, let him get his reps, and then that's the only way he's going to be good. And you look at it too, and I feel like they say a divided locker room, whatever the case may be. I feel like the defense is tired of Jimmy, because I heard Jimmy Ward say, "Oh man, what I like about Trey is he stretches the field and he likes to throw deep," and like he made comments like that, to where it's like, okay, you have to keep the defense honest. And I think this defense is getting fed up of all these opportunities they're giving the offense, and they're not doing anything with it. Fred Warner, Jimmy Ward are getting tired. Then now you have offensive players, Trent Williams, like you said earlier, giving Trey praise, saying like, "Oh, he's going to be great. He's going to be great." Kyle Juszczyk on his little sit down, he made some good comments. He was like, "Oh, when Trey gets in, he's going to be great. Like he can make every throw. He hurts you with his legs." So the writing's on the wall.
Yeah, I completely agree. And that just makes the most sense, is that the players, they're going to see what he can do. And like we said before, that like with the whole Kittle not being on his side and stuff, is that once you see what, the plays that he can make, and him, we actually threw to Kittle. I know that, it wasn't caught or whatever, but threw to Kittle in the end zone. We don't see that too often. Kittle's not a touchdown scorer,
He's not.
He definitely doesn't have touchdowns to back up. That's
and I don't know what the issue is. Like, I don't know with Kittle, he's not a real good red zone threat. You notice most of his touchdowns is because of yards after catch. he'll catch a slant and take it 40, 50 yards or whatever the case may be. You never really see us utilizing him in the red zone, which is crazy to me.
Yeah, and that, but yet then when we see Lance in there, we see him throwing to Kittle in the red zone, in the end zone. It's like, so it just seems, that his numbers would only be better. The wide receivers, hopefully we can utilize, some more wide receivers besides Debo, because it's only a matter of time, before something happens to him when he's the only one out there making plays.
Yep.
And it's not like he's been healthy before.
Yeah.
It's
No.
like,
Yeah. You're right. You're
so
right.
since
Yeah.
he's actually healthy, why don't we, not put the entire team on his back and expect him to run down the field with it?
Yeah, I think that game plan, like we talked about, of using four, even five receiver sets. I know that's not what Kyle does a lot of the times, but I know what's in his bag. I know what's in his arsenal because I used to see it sometimes with Atlanta. They throw out Julio Jones when he had Sanu there, Taylor Gabriel. They even throw the tight end out there sometimes, and it's like if you do that and you keep Trey like in a shotgun there sometimes, there's no way they're going to keep eight in the box because they're going to be too worried about, man, I got to cover five. And it's not like we have slouches. If we roll out there with IU, Samuel, Kittle, use check, I'll be dead by the time we get to the Super Bowl.
Don't say
Seriously.
that, Sin.
But yeah, if you no, seriously, but yeah, if you throw out all those weapons, I like our guys more, with one-on-one matchups than I would with Arizona. It's like, like their corners, they're solid, but they're not like anybody that you write home about. Their best player in the secondary is Buda Baker. And, you put him, who are you going to put him on? George Kittle? That's a
Yep.
mismatch all day. So we need to utilize that and keep the field open, let Trey spread the ball around a little bit. Like I said, try to attack every area of the field. Like you have to see what this kid can do. And I think, like I said, it'll open up that run game a lot because you cannot crowd the box with four receiver sets. You
Yeah,
can't.
that's the number one thing is that we need to get that run game going.
We have
The
to.
run game, we have not seen the run game.
We haven't seen the run game good except for week one. And that's only because Elijah Mitchell had like a 60-yard run. Other than that, his numbers were pretty lackadaisical. It's like so, and we haven't ran the ball good since the Philly game. So we need to open that up. And the only way to do that is to have a quarterback who can attack all areas of the field. Period.
Yeah, and hopefully this week we have a Mitchell Trey Sermon,
Oh,
combo.
that would be nice. Yeah.
You know,
And I like too, like, towards the end, Trey Lance kept feeding the ball to Kyle Juszczyk. That's building that chemistry. Kyle's
Yep.
like, oh, when I'm out here, he uses me because Kyle Juszczyk is undervalued, as we
Yeah, I
talked about
agree.
before. Do you remember in training camp or wherever it was when him and Fred Warner went one-on-one down the field? And Kyle Juszczyk beat him down the field, and I think Trey's the one who threw him the ball to beat him deep. So
Mhm.
it's like Kyle Juszczyk he's faster than what people think. He has good hands. He runs good routes. I know he's listed as a fullback, but he truly is an offensive weapon. And you put him, like I said, you put him out there. I'd like our chance. You put him, Kittle, Sanu, Ayuk, Debo out there, Sherfield. I like our chances.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. And I think, we've seen what Arizona's defensive line can do. They have playmakers. I'm scared, especially with Jimmy not at 100% to put him back there
Yeah, for sure.
because if he's not 100% and he really is hurt, getting hit so many times isn't going to help his injury or anything.
Yeah.
And at least Trey, we've seen that he can get out of that,
Mhm.
and if he needs to run,
Yeah.
whatever, get out of there.
So yeah, it's
And
scary. It's scary, Miriah, because you look at both DNs. Obviously, we got Chandler Jones. I'm sure Trent Williams is going to be on him most of the time, and that man has 7.5 sacks in 4 games. So I mean, granted, he had 5 in 1 game, but he had five. He had 7.5 sacks. And on the other side, Mike McGlinchey, he gets to deal with J.J. Watt. So it's like,
yeah,
so what's like you said, something's going to have to give here. That's why, if the offensive line is struggling, and of course, like I said, I'm not saying to pass the ball. I think we need to be balanced on offense, but I would like to see the game opened up with us passing, just so we can keep the defense honest, so they're not crowding that box so much. Because if we start off to run, and they're running the
Yeah.
ball all the time, they're gonna be like, oh, okay, that's what we're gonna do. But that's when Kyle needs to say, okay, you want to stack the box? I'm gonna send Debo Samuel over the top deep, or whoever the case may be. I'm gonna have I'm gonna have George Kittle go deep, whoever it is, because we know at least we have somebody to get the ball there.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love what, Trey can bring to the run game and, opening that up. But I'm super excited to see Trey throw.
Me too.
That's the part I'm excited for. It's like that whole second half of this football game, it's like was the best second half of football like I've seen in a while, that I've been excited, just like every time he had the ball, it's like you were just expecting after a while, okay, he's going to make something happen.
Yeah.
Like this kid's out there. He's a playmaker. He's going to get down and gritty and, fight for what he can. And it's like, that's something that I've always felt that Jimmy lacked. I felt like, does he love football? Does he, is he willing to put the team on his back and fight and, get dirty and gritty and be a football player? Have we seen that? I don't think that we have. He's done nothing to show me that he loves playing football.
Yeah, that's true.
He loves collecting the paycheck, and then the rest of it, he loves especially sitting on the bench collecting a paycheck.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's like, I feel like with Trey, he gets in there and, he's a football player. He's going to do what it takes to get the yards, to, fight with the guys and make it that true 11-on-11 football. And I'm excited to see that.
Yeah, and I'm happy, too. And it just sucks because I feel like when you have stuff like OTAs and stuff like that, that is your time to get your quarterback ready. Like for him to not have not many snaps with the first team and stuff is just, it's shameful, because his snaps with the first team should be pretty equal. Well, at least when you're in training camp and OTAs, because you always want to see. So to me, so telling me that you went into training camp knowing that I'm gonna give Jimmy all the first team reps just tells me that you plan on starting him anyway.
Yeah.
Because why not go in there with a fair shake? It's not like you got Trey in there competing with Patrick Mahomes. You got him in there competing with Jimmy. So it's like, let the kid get in there, let him get a lot of the first team reps and say, okay, you know what? Now we're going to see X, Y, and Z and what's going on, and then we can know who we're really going to start. Yeah, the way that they've been preparing Trey is a little disappointing, because Kyle really doesn't have a track record of getting quarterbacks up to par. You know what I mean? I mean, I guess you can say that with Kirk Cousins when he was there with the Washington football team, but he inherited a good quarterback in Matt Ryan when he was in his prime and stuff like that. So I just hope they do the kid right, and they sit there and they actually put him in the best position possible, because as we said before, when he was drafted, he got put in the best situation possible, because he had one of the best offensive lines around him, great weapons, a good defense. So it's like don't set him up for failure. So
yeah, and I think that's where a lot of the problems with the fan base and Shanahan and all this started was, and the way he went about the whole Trey situation is going into this season, and you really went into it without a true quarterback competition, and that's where you messed up. You should have went into it with a true quarterback competition, letting them split reps with the number ones, and letting the one that was capable of winning the job win the job. But you didn't. You went in and just handed it to Jimmy. Like he's been handed the starting job this entire time. He hasn't had no competition. And now, we see this fire in Jimmy and yada, yada, yada. Now, it took all this, and where? Like, because I'm not seeing it.
Yeah,
because you can get up in press conferences and drop the F-bomb a few times. You're fiery now? No, you're not.
Yeah, and that's why I respect Bill Belichick, because he nipped that quarterback controversy in the bud. I'm getting rid of Cam Newton. Now we know who we're riding with. We're going to the season with Mac Jones, and this is what we're going to do. I don't care about people's feelings. I don't care about who wants what. And that's why I wish Kyle, would have grew a pair and just said, you know what, I'm taking care of this. And like I said, like we mentioned earlier, unless there's something behind the scenes that's keeping him on the team. But if I'm Kyle and if he has so much control of this team, he goes to John and Jed. I'm getting rid of Jimmy Garoppolo. We only got a fourth round for him, but hey, it's the best that we can get. It's really going to be hard to trade him for something of value now when you got Stephon Gilmore getting traded for a 6, who's a Pro Bowl corner. So now you're looking at Jimmy, who's injury prone, who's limited. You're lucky to get a 4th or a 5th for him. Kyle should have just been like, this is what we're doing. We're riding with Trey. I don't feel like we have a Super Bowl roster, which I don't get it. I don't know.
I agree 100%. That's what you should have done. Your whole, we want to get a first for Jimmy. That was never going to happen. It's never going to happen.
Yeah, that was straight up delusional.
Ridiculous.
That was delusional. I don't know what. I mean, I guess you miss every shot you don't try, but they should have known, like, when people weren't biting, if somebody were to offer you a 2nd round pick in the offseason and you didn't take it, I think that was ridiculous. Like, I think you mess up an opportunity to get the best that you can get for Jimmy, because now the way he's been playing, and then supposedly if he is hurt, but I think somebody mentioned before, it's like, you could probably get more for somebody for saying, oh yeah, well, he got hurt and then we roll with the rookie, than saying, oh, he got benched for a rookie. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, I completely agree. So, I'm going to say that we are going to take a loss this week as well. If Jimmy starts, I'm going to say we lose 38-10.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And it's the same as I felt last week. It's like I have no confidence in this offense as long as he's running the helm. I don't. And he's done nothing still to show me that I'm wrong. We're not scoring points when he's in the game. And now we don't have, Robbie again. We have a kicker that didn't even have a job, and there's a reason he didn't have a job. So we're going to be missing that special teams aspect again. We'll see what he brings, but it's like, are we really going to trust his leg?
Yeah, well, hopefully he gets it together, because from what I'm saying on this dude, he has a powerful leg, but his percentages are low. He's like only 70%. So that's why he didn't have a job. So, what's up, John V? So, yeah, I think if he can clean that up, I think we're good to go, because the dude, they say he's kicked like 50, 60 yarders in practice. He's just not consistent with it. So, so 38-10, huh? Man.
Yeah, and I'm going to say that if Trey starts, I have a tough time saying that we're going to lose, but I don't want to just be a homer. So
yeah,
I'm going to say that it's a lot closer. I'm going to go Arizona 31. I'll say Niners 23.
Okay. And
I do want to say in my heart of hearts that it would be closer than that, but
I know right now. So how we live in Vegas, so I keep track of the spreads a lot. I know when the week started, we're at -4.5, and everybody's been picking Arizona as a smart pick, but now it's moved to 5. So I'm curious to see if, when Trey is named the starter, what's going to happen. Like if it goes to like, oh, Trey's a rookie, the spread's now going to go to -7 or whatever the case may be. If that does, I'm throwing $100 on 49ers to beat that spread. I'm going to say they don't lose more than 7 points. I just have a feeling. I think Arizona's on their high horse, and I think they're just going to be, like I said, if it's Jimmy, I'm not taking the bet. But if it's Trey, I'm going to take that bet and say, you know what? Because, I still might even take it at -5. I think I'll go 49ers +5. But if it jumps any higher, I'm taking it for sure, just because I feel like this team has the opportunity to beat them. Because, I know that Arizona's hot right now. They went into L.A., they beat the Rams or whatever the case may be. But at the same time, this is still a division game. Yeah. And you never know what happens. They went to Arizona went to Jacksonville and struggled, and we have a much better defense. So
and it's not like we're going away. We're comfortable playing there. We spent a good portion of time there.
Same time
And,
zone.
to be honest, we haven't been playing too hot at home. We've been playing better
Exactly.
on the road.
Yeah, I think
So,
we've lost 9 of 10 at home. So we're
yeah,
not playing. We're not playing good football at home. Arizona's still in the same time zone, so we're not going to be losing any sleep. There's not going to be any jet lag or nothing
yep,
like that because we're traveling to the East Coast. But yeah, I mean, I like your predictions. I really do believe it's the same way I made my predictions. I think we'll lose just on the fact is because I feel like offensively we just it's going to be hard to keep up with them. But I think I don't know, and who knows if Trey goes out there and starts, it might spark everybody up. It might
yeah. I
spark up
mean,
the
and
offensive
Arizona
line.
doesn't have tape on him.
Yeah, don't have tape on them,
They
and then
don't
it
know
could.
what game plan they're coming out with, how he's
Yeah,
going to be used. None
yeah.
of that.
And who knows? I mean, you got somebody like, the offensive line might say, oh man, we got somebody who likes to move out the pocket. So we don't, whatever the case may be, like you might get everybody else fired up on that team
Yeah,
for showing Arizona a new look because, like you said, we already know what we're getting with Jimmy. If Jimmy starts, we know what kind of game plan they're going to bring out. If Trey starts, you don't know what they're going to bring out, and they probably don't even know. They're probably going to be like, I don't know what this guy's going to do. He can run, he can throw deep, so we have to cover all aspects of the field because we don't know what the game plan is. But just like we mentioned, I think it all comes down to Kyle, and even like I said, I don't. Do you know who Sean Salisbury is?
it
I'm a,
sounds
I'm
familiar.
gonna send you his clip that he made. I had retweeted it on Twitter, and he was saying like he used to be on like NFL Network and stuff like that.
Oh,
But
okay.
anyway, he was sitting here. He was just like, yeah. He goes, I don't care if Trey goes out there and stinks up the joint. Even if he goes out there and throws 4 touchdowns, you know what? I'm starting him against the Colts too, and for the rest of the season because that's the only way you get better by going out there. So even if he goes out there and he stinks up the joint, you stay with him because then I think the worst thing that you can do. I think the worst thing that you can do is have him go out there, and if he's not good, you say, okay, now we're putting you on the bench.
Yep.
Because I mean, like I said, I believe in Trey. I believe in his confidence. I believe in his work ethic. But at the same time, he's 21 years old, and if he goes out there and he just is like, man, I threw 4 interceptions, this and that, and then they're like, okay, now we're putting you on the bench because I'm sure he knows the truth that was going on in that locker room. So if they're saying, "Oh well, you know what, we gave you a chance and you suck," shame on the coaching staff, because I know you guys do not expect for him to go on there and play like Russell Wilson out there. If you do, or Josh Allen, if you do, then you need to question your coaching ability and your development process because that's not how it works.
Right. And, let's talk about that for a second. What if, what Zach Wilson went out there a couple weeks ago and threw what, 4 or 5
Through four
interceptions in a game,
interceptions. Yeah,
but because he's the starter, he's the clear number one there,
yeah.
he's not getting put back on the bench.
Hmm.
So he's able to come out the next week and work through that,
Yeah,
and get better. It's like now if Trey were to go out there and let's hope he doesn't, but go out there and do the same. And now he gets put on the bench. And now the next time he gets to play is when? When does he get to work through that?
exactly.
So you're not only destroying his confidence, you're not letting him work through it and get better. We already have a coach that, let's be honest, it doesn't look like he's boosting his confidence up very much.
No, he's
He
not
doesn't look like he's that type of coach at all. It looks like he's done nothing but kill Jimmy's confidence,
for sure.
and do we want to see that happen with Trey? No, we definitely don't. So it's like, I don't know. Like that's definitely something that'll be really bad if he
Yeah.
does get benched after this.
Yeah, and you're right. It's like if you look at how everything has progressed over the last 4 weeks, yeah, the rookies have stunk it up bad, but even this last game, you look at Mac Jones, he played a pretty good game against Tampa Bay. He went out there, he did good. The first couple of weeks, he didn't look like that. I watched
Right.
last Thursday's game when it was the Bengals and the Jaguars. And I look at him and I was like, man, cause this is the first time I actually saw Trevor Lawrence play since he's been in the pros, and I'm like, he looked pretty good. Like for all the slander he's been taking about, because he had one game where he threw like 2 or 3 picks,
Yeah.
but at the same time, the coach is sticking with him. Like, you know what, this is what we're gonna do. I'm not gonna put in C.J. Beathard because you had a bad game. It doesn't make any sense. So it's like they let him stick with it, and he actually looked pretty good. As a matter of fact, they were leading the Bengals pretty much the majority of the game till the Bengals came back. So, you know, you get better when it comes with reps, like you said. Like people have been saying, on the job training. You can't, like, I don't know. And some people are different. Like I'm the person, like if I start a new job, if you're teaching me on a computer, that's fine if I'm looking at it, but I have to do it.
Yeah.
Okay, move out of the way so I can sit down and do
Yeah, me
what you
too.
just did. Yeah, let me do what you just did so I know the procedures and I know exactly what tab to press, whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
That's the only way that you learn, by doing it yourself. So, and I just laugh because everybody wants to bring up the Aaron Rodgers thing. Well, he sat behind Brett Favre for 3 years. Aaron Rodgers played 4 years of college football. He played 2 years at JUCO, and then he played 2 years at Cal. So he has way more reps, way more game time play than Trey does. So you can't compare the two.
And Jimmy ain't no Brett Favre.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
and yeah, talking about the other rookie quarterbacks, it's that they all are now starting to look better because they've gotten to play 4 weeks of football already. So they've got to go out there and do it, and that's what's expected.
Yeah.
Is that they're going to play through the rookie hiccups and learn the game and learn defenses, and the game will slow down because they have that playing time out there. Now imagine if Lance would have gotten to start along with all of them, where he would be right now. But
Yep.
no, he gets thrown out in a second half with 30 seconds of notice, and now we want to kill him for every little thing that he did wrong.
Yep.
You know,
The best way to have gotten him ready is to let him play toe to toe with Jared Goff and Jalen Hurts.
yeah,
That would have been the best time for him to go up against somebody. But now you put him in a second half with no preparation, a minute before halftime. Hey kid, go ahead and get ready to start against Russell Wilson. And then it's like, okay, if he does play, it's like, okay, and now you're going up against the number one offense in the NFL, but no pressure. You don't have to, don't worry about scoring. No pressure, but you're going against Kyler Murray, number one offense right now, who's a possible MVP candidate.
right.
Like it's just, so it's like, like I said, it's just, I really just hope he gets proper preparation because I like the kid's chances, and I really think I'm trying to read the comment at the same time, but yeah, I really think that, you know, like I said, whether we lose or not, this is the perfect opportunity for him to go out and develop. And which is in a way, it does suck because he is going up against somebody like Kyler Murray, who's number one offense. At the same time, it gives him the chance to try to spread that ball around and see what he can do on the offensive side of the ball too.
Yeah.
So it's like it's kind of like a win-win situation, and then it's better because if he continues to start, this bye week couldn't come at a better time.
Yeah.
It's like you play Arizona. If you struggle, okay, let's look over film. Let's see what we have to clean up. And now you have 2 weeks to prepare because now you're playing. Now you're not playing this coming Sunday, and then you're playing on Sunday night football. So it's like you get 2 full weeks to prepare for a Colts team who's been struggling as well.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know. So I just hope they do this kid right.
Yeah, Miss Debbie says, Kyler reminds me of someone who grew up under tough love, go stand in the corner type of upbringing. And that's the way he's running this team. He puts players in the doghouse to teach a lesson. I mean, and yeah, we've definitely seen, I don't know what kind of upbringing he had, but we've definitely seen that he has put players in the doghouse. And, once they've been in the doghouse, it's been pretty hard to get them out.
Yeah. And I know, and it's kind of hard to say because I know you're dealing with grown men, but at the same time, just because you're an adult and you're a grown up doesn't mean that you don't have emotions. So if people, oh well, he's getting paid this much money. It's like, okay, like with Dante Pettis, we can tell off top that he was soft.
Yeah.
We can tell he was soft. So maybe that tough love with him didn't work. He maybe the approach to Dante Pettis, it needed to be different or whatever the case may be. Like I feel like the way you treat that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
I feel like the way you treat Dante Pettis wouldn't be the same way you would treat a Debo Samuel, because they flat out told Debo Samuel, you need to lose some weight, you need to get in better shape, and this is that. And he didn't go cry in a corner. He didn't say, "Oh, they're talking about me physically," and he went and he did what he had to do, and now he's balling. Some people just ain't built for that. So I just think, yeah, just the way it is. Like me, it's funny because like I was raised how Miss Debbie just said. It was like I told you something one time. If you didn't do it like I told you to, you get in the belt. Period. There's no questions asked. If I tell you to clean that room, you clean it. If I come home from work, it's not clean, you getting a whooping. And then I joined the military, so I was getting yelled at, screamed at. So I'm used to that, being having that thick skin. But I have a son who's 14. He's total opposite. I can't yell at him. I can't talk to him like that because he's different. I have to sit down and talk to him and not raise my voice. It took me some time to learn that, because it's like, oh no, okay, he doesn't react to that. He doesn't get better with the yelling and this and that. So I had to come at him with a different approach. And I feel like you can't do that with all players, if that makes sense. So, yeah.
Yeah, right. And I think that comes back to a lot of people's questions about Kyle as a head coach, and, being more than that offensive mind, just the offensive play caller. Does he have what it takes to be a head coach? Is he giving the time to teach these guys, the different ways that they need to learn? And not everybody learns the same, so are you sitting down with this guy and teaching them this way and this way and this way, or you're just throwing them all in a group and saying, okay, this is the way that we're doing it, and either you succeed or you fail? Like, I don't know. I feel like there are questions about the way that he does things, and, about the whole doghouse thing, and, about you're drafting players and we're not seeing them just because of who knows why. And where's Ayuk at still? It's like, there are questions to, Kyle's leadership.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, I don't think, and you're right. I think it's, as a coach, I think Kyle is doing fine as far as, like, his X's and O's. And, I'm not even mad about, I feel like he did a decent job bringing in solid. D'Amico's doing well, but it's the leadership.
Yeah.
It's like, like, I feel like the coaching's the easy part. The leadership is where you really need to dig in deep and say, okay, what can I do to put my team and my players in the best positions to succeed? And I don't feel like he's doing that.
Yeah, I completely agree. And, everybody's so quick to say, if he got fired or, whatever, teams would be, quick to grab him up. And, I think they would, but would it be for a head coaching job? Because, I mean, this is the only head coaching job that he's had. And, let's be honest, if he's getting fired, then we didn't have a winning season, or 2 more winning seasons, who you're going to get hired as a head coach with 1 winning season out of 6, 7,
5, 6 years, whatever. Yeah. No, you're right. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I just think the bottom line is, I hope, this game on Sunday, it shows us some promise. I just hope that Trey goes out there and kills it. I mean, and not just singling him out, the whole team. I hope that if he starts, like I said, I'm still holding out hope, but who knows how Kyle and his shenanigans and stuff. But, if Trey goes out there, I just wish the best for the young man. I just wish, the team rides for him, and there's no pouting. I feel like there's grown men in the locker room who are pouting too, like, oh, I want Jimmy to start, and like, or I'm gonna be pissed if you start Trey. Like, dude, man up, stop acting like a punk. Like, you work for somebody. These people are cutting you checks. If they tell you Trey's starting, that's what's happening. You need to go out there and make the best of it. Quit crying. So, I just hope that he goes out there, and I really do believe if he starts, he'll add a whole spark to everybody on that field. He'll add spark to the defense, because I know the defense is getting tired of it. He'll add spark to the defense because he extends plays, and then the offense will be like, man, he can actually utilize my skill set. He can actually, like Ayuk. I wouldn't even be mad if they brought up somebody like a Travis Benjamin, because he's a true deep threat.
Yeah.
You go out here, you throw him out as a decoy, whatever the case may be. He'll even open up the field, because if he gets deep alone, Trey's going to hit him. So it's one of those things. Like I said, I hope Kyle just throws a kitchen sink at these dudes. This is a division game. You got a rookie who needs to develop. Let Trey go out there and just sling that rock.
Yeah, I've been forgetting that Travis Benjamin's still on the practice squad.
Practice squad, yeah. And he's probably the fastest receiver on the team. But, so
I think that, once Trey, like you said, having that spark for everybody, once he makes a couple, deep bombs down the field, like once the team sees, like, oh, like if we get excited, they're getting excited on the sidelines
Sure.
watching it, like him airing out the ball, something that we'd never see from Jimmy. We see the
Absolutely.
players' reactions, like that's only going to make them more hype and, them get out there and play
Yeah.
that much harder.
Yeah, you're right. Well, you look at the play against who was it? Was it the Chargers? I don't know who were you playing that day when he threw that bomb to Trent Sherfield, the 80-yarder. Well, I forgot who it was. I don't know. I think it was the Chargers, huh?
Chargers,
Yeah, so we're playing the Chargers. So you look at plays like that. You look at a play like he threw on Sunday to Debo. I can just see more of that going forward. Of course, it's not going to be the busted coverages all the time, but the way he threw that ball and everybody's like, oh, it was a bad throw. I'm just glad he got it there. He didn't overthrow him, didn't throw it at his feet or lower. He had to dive or whatever the case may be. Trey was like, he's open. Let me just get it there. Like he got it there, and Debo, you do the rest. You know what I'm saying? So I like that. And like I said, I really think that we're going to see a lot of that going forward, just as long as he gets comfortable, because there's going to be a time where somebody's going to be open and he's just going to sling it downfield and somebody's going to catch a long bomb. I feel it, because I feel like Patrick Mahomes does that. Him and Josh Allen do it like once a game. And it doesn't always result in a touchdown, but it gets you like a 60, 70-yard gain where it puts you in good field position. And I can see him doing that. So,
right. And it makes the defenses play you honest. And that's something we definitely need.
absolutely.
That we haven't seen,
Yep.
So, yeah, I mean, I'm super excited for, I'm going with that he's starting. And, I'm super excited to see everything that's going to bring. Like I said, even if it comes up with us losing the game, I don't think that it'll be by a lot. And, it's only to give us a glimpse of what the future brings and, to get him in there and get that play time that he needs.
Absolutely. Well, cool.
Yeah, I think that's it. Before we go, I just wanted to give a shout out to Jesse Naylor with Last Second Sports. He had some unfortunate events happen this week on his show. And some clown got on there and posted some stuff that he shouldn't have. And unfortunately, his channel got taken down. And he is, fighting to get that back up. We don't know if that'll happen, but, he had almost 3,000 followers.
In 8
a lot
months.
Of hard work.
In 8 months, too. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of hard work has gone into there. Him and, the 3 other guys that he does his shows with. I have nothing but the utmost respect for all 4 of them. Jesse takes such precautions when he does a show, and unfortunately some, things happen and people still get by and do the, horrible things that they do. Like these 4 guys, they use that platform to put food on the tables for their kids.
Yeah.
And you took that away from them, and, that's horrible. So, everybody go out, show him some love, go follow him. I posted his Twitter info going across the screen at JNA_LLSS. And, hopefully he gets his channel back up. And if he does, or if he starts another one, definitely be on the lookout for that so that you guys can subscribe to that and we can get his channel back up and going.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, Miriah. Excuse me. I was talking to him earlier too, and if you're watching this, Jesse, I just want to give you some prayers, man. I know it's tough. I know you worked hard. It's sad. I was watching your show for a little bit there last night or the night before, whenever it happened, and I know somebody tried to call in and didn't have a face, and you told them flat out, like, "Hey, man, I don't like people calling my show without showing their face. I want to make sure you're not a hacker, this, and that." And then it ended up happening, I think, like a few hours later, an hour later or something. So I'm praying for your brother. I know you worked hard. You had that channel for 8 months with over 3,000 followers. So, if I have anything to do with it, I'll help you get some more people to subscribe and get followed back up once you get that channel up and running, brother.
Yep. Like I told you before, I have your back. There are so many of us and 49ers Twitter and, 49ers content creators, we have your back. We're here for you. Anything that we can do, just holler. And with that being said, TL, I appreciate you again, as always, being here. Everybody in the comments, we couldn't do this without you guys. Much love to everybody. Let's go out and let's just make it through this game healthy. Whether we get a win or not, we'll be going into the bye and we'll see what the team looks like from here.
Absolutely. All right,
Have a good night,
Faithful.
everybody.
Thank you for watching.
Stay faithful.